It's 6:47 a.m. on a Saturday in 1996. The house is silent, except for the hum of the refrigerator. You tiptoe down the hallway, bare feet on cold hardwood, your breath visible in the living room because the heat hasn't kicked in yet. You settle onto the carpet, that rough, scratchy carpet that leaves patterns on your legs, and you turn on the TV. The volume is at 4, maybe 5 if you're feeling brave. And then it starts. That first cartoon theme song pierces the silence, and suddenly, the entire world shrinks down to just you and that glowing screen. That feeling, you remember that feeling. But here's what's strange, it was never really about the cartoons. What you were experiencing was something psychologists call a temporal landmark, a moment so distinct that your brain filed it away as sacred. And understanding why that moment mattered might change how you see your entire childhood. Because you weren't just watching cartoons. You were learning what it meant to own time. Let's set the stage. The 1990s and early 2000s were the last era of appointment television for kids. There was no streaming, no on-demand, no pause button. If you wanted to watch your show, you had to be there. Saturday morning, 7 a.m. to noon. That was the window. Miss it, and it was gone until next week. But that scarcity? That created something powerful. Your brain has this feature called the reminiscence bump. You remember experiences from roughly ages 10 to 25 more vividly than any other period of your life. It's when you're forming your identity, learning who you are, encoding the world at the highest resolution. And Saturday mornings fell right into that sweet spot. But there's more happening here than just memory formation. Think about the ritual of it. You'd wake up early voluntarily, not for school, not because someone made you. You woke up because you wanted to be there for something. That act of waking up in the dark, of being the first one awake, of having the house to yourself, that was autonomy. Real autonomy, maybe the first time you felt it. And your brain encoded that feeling alongside everything else. The cold air, the blue TV glow, the muffled sound so your parents wouldn't wake up, the texture of the carpet, the taste of dry cereal eaten by the handful because you were too lazy to get a bowl. These weren't just details. They were the scaffolding around a profound emotional experience. Freedom. Researchers have found that nostalgia isn't random. Your brain curates memories like a museum director, putting certain moments under glass while letting others fade into storage. And it prioritizes moments when you felt a sense of control, of safety, of belonging. Saturday morning cartoons checked every box. You were in control. You chose to be there. You were safe. Nothing was expected of you. No homework, no chores, no schedule. And you belonged because even though you were alone in your living room, you knew that millions of other kids were doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. You were part of something. But here's where it gets deeper. And this is the part that might hurt a little. You don't actually miss the cartoons. Not really. What you miss is what those Saturday mornings represented. A version of you who had nowhere to be and nothing to prove. A version who could sit for 4 hours straight, lost in stories that didn't matter, in a world that felt completely manageable. Your biggest concern was whether you'd make it to the TV before your sibling did. When you were a kid, your brain was operating in first impression mode. Everything was new. Everything was significant. A random Saturday in 1997 feels more vivid in your memory than last. Saturday because your brain was recording at a higher resolution. It had to. You were still learning what the world was. But there's an uncomfortable truth hiding in all of this. Nostalgia is a liar. It airbrushes out the boredom, the loneliness, the anxiety. You remember the highlights, the best episodes, the perfect Saturday when your friends slept over, the morning your mom made pancakes during commercial breaks. But you forget the average. You forget the reruns you'd seen 5 times. The mornings you felt restless and understimulated. The creeping awareness, even then, that you were alone in a cold room watching other people have adventures. Psychologists call this rosy retrospection, your brain's tendency to remember the past as better than it actually was. The peak-end rule means you remember the best moment and how it ended, not the hours of mundane in between. And here's the hardest part. You're not mourning Saturday morning cartoons. You're mourning the death of the self who didn't know what was coming. You're mourning the version of you who thought summer vacation would last forever, who believed adulthood was some distant, abstract concept, who hadn't yet learned about rent and commutes and the weight of other people's expectations. That kid sitting on the floor? They had no idea how good they had it. And neither did you until it was gone. So what do we do with this? Should you just reject nostalgia? Pretend the past doesn't matter? No, because here's the thing. That ache you feel when you remember those Saturday mornings? It's not weakness, it's information. Nostalgia serves a purpose. It's not just your brain being sentimental. It's your brain trying to maintain something called self-continuity. It's building a bridge between who you were and who you are now, reminding you that despite everything that's changed, there's a thread connecting past you to present you. When you feel that longing for simpler times, you're not broken. You re-experiencing a fundamental human tension, the need to grow forward while honoring where you came from. But here's the reframe. Those Saturday mornings weren't magical because of the cartoons. They were magical because of what they gave you: ritual, autonomy, presence, and the luxury of time that moved slowly. And you can build that again. Different, yes. Adult versions, sure. But the core need? It's still there. Maybe you don't need to rewatch Animaniacs for the 100th time. Maybe you just need to remember what those mornings actually provided. A sense of ritual, a pocket of time where nothing was expected of you, a space to just exist without performing. You can create that now. Sunday mornings with coffee and no phone. A protected hour where you do something just because you want to, not because it's productive. A ritual that's yours and yours alone. The cartoons were never the point. They were the permission slip. Permission to be present. Permission to do nothing. Permission to feel wonder without justification. So the next time you feel that ache for Saturday mornings in 1996, remember, you're not mourning the cartoons. You're mourning a version of yourself who had the luxury of presence, who could sit still, who had nowhere else to be. And that version? They're still in there. They're the part of you that stops scrolling when a song from childhood comes on. The part that feels inexplicably peaceful during a rainy afternoon. The part that knows, somewhere deep down, that you don't always have to be doing something to be someone. You can't go back. But you can remember why it mattered. And maybe, just maybe, you can give yourself permission to feel that again, not through a screen in a cold living room, but in whatever way makes sense for who you are now. That kid sitting cross-legged in front of the TV, they grew up. But they didn't disappear.